because you seem harmless. Your words carry no weight, your silence inspires no fear. You try to lead, they yet do not follow. They tolerate you. But what if you could forge an aura so cold, so commanding, that people bend not out of affection but out of instinct? This is the psychology of power. The ruthless aura that Machiavelli himself whispered to princes and tyrants alike. An aura that does not beg to be followed, it demands to be obeyed. When you enter a room, you are announcing your presence long before you speak. People watch how you breathe, how your eyes move, how your hands rest. They are searching for signs, signs of certainty, signs of weakness, signs of dominance. The problem is most men betray themselves within seconds. They talk too much, laugh too quickly, or rush to prove their worth. In their eagerness to be noticed, they reveal that they are insignificant. Machiavelli once observed that a prince must learn how not to be good. But he did not mean cruelty. He meant control. To appear calm in the face of chaos is to appear more than human. When others tremble and you remain composed, they will assume you possess something divine, an inner strength, an unshakable command that cannot be challenged. You see, power is not loud, power whispers. It moves slowly. It does not chase validation because it knows validation will come to it. You must learn to speak less but mean more. Every gesture, every word must carry weight. Speak like your time is precious, like your silence is a luxury no one else can afford. When you are calm, people project their fears onto you. They start to imagine what you're capable of, not because you told them, but because you refuse to tell them. That is how mystique is born. The greatest rulers in history understood this. Julius Caesar was feared not for his words, but for his restraint. Napoleon commanded loyalty not because he was loud, but because he was precise. Their calmness was not weakness, it was a calculated performance, an aura of inevitability wrapped in silence. Let others waste their energy reacting. Let them chatter, defend, explain, and prove themselves. You must become the observer, the one who watches with still eyes. The longer you stay silent, the more they reveal themselves to you. People hate silence. It exposes their anxiety. They will fill the silence with words, with confessions, with mistakes. All you must do is listen. That is how you gain power without speaking a word. When you remain calm, others lose their balance. They become desperate for a reaction, any reaction, to confirm that they still have influence over you. Do not give it. Your lack of response is a mirror reflecting their insignificance. You must understand. Control is not about domination, it is about presence. To appear calm is to appear unmovable. When the storm comes and you do not flinch, others instinctively look to you for direction. Train yourself to master your expressions. Never let your face betray your thoughts. The human face is a battlefield. One raised eyebrow, one flicker of emotion can expose your intentions. Practice neutrality. Whether you are insulted or praised, remain the same. If you can keep your composure when others are losing theirs, you become the anchor in their chaos. They will cling to you, depend on you, obey you. Because calmness feels like safety, and humans crave safety even from those they fear. But do not confuse calmness with kindness. A calm man can be ruthless. In fact, his calmness makes his ruthlessness terrifying. When a calm man decides to act, his actions carry the weight of inevitability. There is no warning, no emotional buildup, only execution. That is why restraint is power. The man who can hold back his impulse possesses more control than the man who unleashes his anger. People fear the unpredictable, and nothing is more unpredictable than a man who feels nothing yet can destroy everything. To forge this illusion of calm power, you must detach your emotions from your reactions. People will test you, provoke you, try to draw you into their chaos. They want to see if you can be shaken if you are like them. Never give them that satisfaction. When someone insults you, look at them the way a king looks at a beggar. Not with anger, but with indifference. Indifference wounds deeper than rage. It tells them they are not worth your emotion, not even your contempt. That is psychological warfare, and it wins without a sword. Your tone of voice must also reflect this calm dominance. Speak slowly, as if every word you say has already been decided before the conversation began. Do not rush to answer questions. A pause before you speak creates tension, and tension creates authority. People listen more closely to those who seem unbothered by their need for answers. When you pause, they lean in. That is when you own their attention. And remember, calmness is a weapon only when it is backed by quiet confidence. You cannot fake it. It must be built. Confidence is not thinking you are better than others. It is knowing that nothing they say or do can disturb your center. That kind of confidence is cultivated through discipline. When you control your mind, you control your reactions. And when you control your reactions, you control your environment. Observe the leaders of men. Their calmness is not a lack of emotion, it is emotional discipline. They do not let others dictate how they feel. When they lose, they appear unaffected. When they win, they remain composed. This constancy creates an aura that unsettles everyone else. People cannot predict what such a man will do, and unpredictability breeds fear. The kind of fear that looks like respect. Imagine a battlefield. Two generals stand on opposite sides. One shouts orders, screams at his men, and demands obedience through noise. The other stands still, silent, his eyes steady. His soldiers glance at him and find courage in his stillness. Which general do you think they would follow into fire? The one who shouts, or the one who radiates certainty without words? Power lies in that second man, the calm one, the one whose presence speaks louder than sound. This illusion of calm power must extend into every aspect of your life. Your walk, your gaze, your timing. Move deliberately, never rush. When you enter a place, pause for a moment before you speak or act. Let others feel your silence before they hear your voice. The anticipation you create is power. The more they wait for your reaction, the more control you gain. People trust what seems unshakable. When you embody calmness, you become a pillar in their eyes. They may not love you, but they will respect you, and they will follow you because your steadiness gives them something to anchor to. In the world of chaos, calmness is authority, and in the art of power, the man who controls himself controls everyone else. Fear is not cruelty, fear is control. When you understand this, you stop wasting energy trying to dominate people physically or socially. You begin shaping their emotions instead. People are driven not by reason but by the shadows in their mind. The what-ifs, the unknowns, the silent threats that never have to be spoken aloud. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. But what he truly meant is that love is uncertain. It changes with moods, with circumstances. Fear, however, is stable. It anchors obedience deep inside the heart. The mistake weak men make is trying to be liked. They think smiles and approval win loyalty. They think being agreeable earns respect. It does not. It breeds comfort, and comfort breeds carelessness. When people are too comfortable with you, they stop respecting you. They speak your boundaries, question your decisions. And when that happens, authority dies quietly in the background. Fear, when used correctly, prevents this decay. It keeps others alert in your presence, careful with their words, measured with their actions. They watch themselves around you, and that vigilance keeps your power alive. But there is an art to this, a subtle science. Fear must never look intentional. If you appear to want people to fear you, it becomes insecurity. You must never demand respect. You must inspire it. How? By mystery. By unpredictability. A man who reveals everything cannot be feared. He is known, and the known is manageable. But a man whose thoughts remain hidden, whose reactions are rare and deliberate, he creates unease. And unease is the seed of fear. The most effective rulers use silence as their weapon. They do not rush to answer. They let others sit in uncertainty. That pause, that few seconds of stillness, can make a person rethink their entire sentence, reconsider their behavior, or question your intentions. This is psychological dominance. When your words are few, every word matters. When your emotions are controlled, every flicker of expression becomes a signal of power. Fear thrives in that ambiguity. Understand this. Fear is not about aggression, it is about presence. You can make people fear disappointing you without ever threatening them. You can make them fear losing your approval, your trust, your attention. The fear of emotional exile is stronger than the fear of punishment. Humans are social creatures. They dread exclusion. When you quietly withdraw from someone who crosses you, without explaining, they panic. Their mind begins to race, to justify, to wonder what they did wrong. And that mental unease is the leash by which you guide them back into compliance. Every leader, every manipulator, every conqueror learns that fear is most powerful when it is invisible. If people can name what they fear, they can fight it. But if they can only sense it, if it hides beneath your calmness, your smile, your still eyes, then it consumes them. Will walk carefully around you, not because you are cruel, but because they cannot predict what will awaken your wrath. That uncertainty is the cage that keeps them obedient. To master fear, you must first master your own. You cannot make others fear you if you are ruled by your own emotions. If you tremble at rejection, if you crave approval, if you need validation, you will never inspire fear. The one who fears nothing is feared by everyone. People sense when someone is internally free, when their emotions are no longer hostage to the opinions of others. That kind of detachment is terrifying because it cannot be manipulated. If you cannot be emotionally bribed, threatened, or flattered, you become untouchable. You must also learn the art of selective response. Not every attack deserves an answer. Sometimes silence is a weapon sharper than any reply. When someone disrespects you and you do not react, you deny them satisfaction. You show that their actions are beneath your notice. But if they persist, and you respond once, with precision, without emotion, without warning, your response will echo longer than words ever could. The lesson is clear: your mercy is patience, your wrath is silence, and your silence is dangerous. Fear, when balanced correctly, does not push people away. It draws them in. They may not like you, but they cannot ignore you. They may resent you, but they will respect you. The most dangerous man is not the one who screams, but the one who smiles when others expect rage. The moment people realize they cannot read you, they will start to imagine you as something greater than you are. They will give shape to your legend in their own minds. That is the true essence of dark psychology, when others build your power for you. The key is to never overuse fear. Like fire, it must be controlled. Too little and people grow bold. Too much and they rebel. The balance lies in tension. Enough uncertainty to maintain respect, enough stability to maintain order. Your presence should make people careful, not terrified. The goal is not to create chaos, but reverence. Those who fear your unpredictability will seek your favor, will avoid conflict, will choose compliance over defiance. When you master the subtle science of fear, you no longer need to shout, threaten, or beg. Your silence becomes command. Your calmness becomes menace. People will measure their words around you, adjust their tone, lower their eyes. Not because you demanded it, but because they chose it. That is how real power operates: unseen, psychological, and permanent. Machiavelli wrote that cruelty, when used correctly, can be an act of mercy, because indecision, weakness, and misplaced kindness allow chaos to grow, and chaos hurts more people than discipline ever could. But cruelty, when measured, when calculated, restores order. The key is timing. You do not strike often, but when you do, it must be swift, decisive, and symbolic. Your punishment should not be about revenge. It should be about message. The goal is not to destroy one man, but to remind 100 others of what defines costs. Mercy, too, is not a gift. It is a tool. You grant it not because you are kind, but because it serves your image. Mercy can bind allies to you more tightly than chains. When given unexpectedly, it transforms fear into loyalty. But it must be rare so that when you offer it, it feels sacred. Too much mercy and people stop valuing it. Too little and they stop hoping for it. Balance is everything. The ruler who learns this balance never needs to shout. His actions speak in silence. When he punishes, the kingdom trembles. When he forgives, the kingdom rejoices. And both fear and gratitude strengthen his throne. You must become that ruler, a figure whose hand can both wound and heal, whose judgment is both terrifying and divine. Observe how people behave when they believe punishment is unlikely. They grow bold, careless, and deceitful. They test your patience. They take advantage of your leniency because they mistake it for weakness. That is why cruelty has its place. The occasional storm keeps the air clean. When you make an example of one, you save 10 others from corruption. But the secret lies in control. You must never act out of emotion. Rage is for the powerless. Discipline is for the ruler. If your cruelty looks emotional, people will call you a tyrant. But if it looks deliberate, they will call you just. There is power in appearing merciful while being capable of cruelty. People should never forget that your kindness is a choice, not a habit. Let your smile carry the memory of your wrath. The contrast between your gentleness and your capacity for violence will keep others uneasy. They will respect your mercy more when they know what your cruelty looks like. The lion who occasionally spares the deer is more respected than the sheep who never bites. Your acts of mercy should always serve strategy. Spare those whose survival benefits you. Forgive those whose loyalty strengthens your power. Mercy that weakens your position is not virtue, it is folly. Machiavelli advised princes to commit cruelty all at once and kindness gradually. Strike fast, forgive slowly. When people forget the pain but remember the kindness, your image softens while your authority remains intact. This balance of mercy and cruelty extends far beyond the battlefield or the throne room. It applies to every relationship of influence. Whether you are leading soldiers, employees, friends, or followers, people must never feel comfortable taking you for granted. They must respect the boundaries of your goodwill. When you withdraw your warmth, they should feel the cold immediately. That awareness maintains order. Too much familiarity breeds contempt. Imagine a ruler who punishes unjustly. He breeds rebellion. But imagine another who forgives endlessly. He breeds parasites. The first dies hated, the second dies forgotten. The one who endures is the ruler who knows when to strike and when to extend a hand. That ruler creates not just followers, but believers. People who see him as the embodiment of justice itself. Cruelty should always be clean, Never prolong suffering, never humiliate publicly unless it serves a higher purpose. The goal is correction, not chaos. When you punish, do it once and be done. Leave no lingering bitterness, no endless vendetta. People respect swift resolution. Dragging vengeance only poisons your own authority. When you forgive, do it with dignity, never with desperation. Let your mercy look like generosity, not weakness. If people sense that you forgive to be liked, they will despise you for it. You must also learn the art of symbolic mercy, gestures that carry meaning beyond their act. Forgive a rival publicly, and you gain moral superiority. Spare a defeated enemy, and you turn him into a living monument of your power. Let him walk among others as proof that your control is so complete, you can afford to show grace. Such gestures terrify more than executions. They whisper that you are untouchable, that even your mercy is an extension of dominance. The greatest leaders understand that the most powerful weapon is perception. You do not need to kill to create fear. You do not need to forgive to create loyalty. You simply need to craft the illusion that both your cruelty and your mercy come from the same place. The throne of control. When people cannot predict which version of you they will face, they treat every interaction with caution. That caution is obedience disguised as respect. Never announce your intentions. Let others live in uncertainty about what pleases or angers you. That uncertainty keeps them alert, attentive, loyal. They will study your moods, your silence, your tone, searching for clues to stay in your favor. That is not manipulation, that is order. People crave structure, and the balance of mercy and cruelty provides it. They need to know there is consequence for betrayal, yet hope for forgiveness. A ruler who offers both becomes not just feared or loved, but necessary. Machiavelli understood that power was a performance. A man may not always be invincible, but if others believe he is, he becomes untouchable. People rarely follow truth. They follow perception. You can project certainty if you can make your every move appear deliberate, every outcome predictable, every word measured. You begin to look destined. And destiny is the most powerful form of persuasion there is. When others think you cannot lose, they stop trying to win. The aura of inevitable dominance begins with inner conviction. You cannot fake certainty, it must be lived. You must carry yourself as though every event, every obstacle, every betrayal is already accounted for, as though it was part of a plan known only to you. When others panic, you remain still. When they doubt, you nod in quiet confidence. They will start to wonder what you know that they do not. That curiosity becomes reverence, and reverence becomes power. Observe the great rulers of history. They were not always the strongest, but they were always the most certain. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon not because he was sure of victory, but because he moved as though the gods had already written his triumph. Napoleon faced entire coalitions of empires and still acted as though defeat was impossible. Their belief infected their armies, their followers, even their enemies. Men who doubted themselves fought harder because they stood near someone who did not. This is how dominance spreads, not through force but through faith. Your aura must become a prophecy, a living myth that others unconsciously feed. Every action you take must reinforce that narrative. When you speak, speak as though your words carry the weight of inevitability. When you walk into a room, do so as though you already own it. People sense conviction in silence, in posture, in presence. You do not need to announce that you are powerful. Power that must be announced is already doubted. True power is assumed by others before you ever confirm it. But there is a danger here: arrogance. The aura of dominance is not built on arrogance, it's built on control. Arrogance is loud and brittle, it breaks under pressure. True dominance is quiet, disciplined, unprovoked. It does not need to prove itself because it already believes. The man who believes in his inevitability does not argue, does not justify, does not chase validation. He acts. And that action alone creates followers. When you maintain this aura, even your setbacks serve your legend. If you fail, act as though it was strategic, as if it was a lesson, not a loss. Speak of defeats as though they were calculated sacrifices. The more you normalize composure in adversity, the more others will believe you are beyond failure. It is the illusion of control that sustains the image of inevitability. If you can convince others that everything is going according to plan, they will never see you as beaten. Your demeanor must remain consistent. Consistency is the foundation of dominance. When others can predict your emotional state, when they know you will never panic, never lash out, never crumble, they begin to rely on your stability. That reliance becomes submission. Even your enemies, over time, start to measure their strength through you. They seek your recognition, even in opposition. To be the standard by which others measure themselves is the essence of rule. Remember, people do not follow the strongest, they follow the most certain. Certainty feels like safety, and humans crave safety more than truth. Your calmness, your deliberate movement, your unwavering tone. These things tell the world that you are unshakable. You must make every decision appear intentional. Every silence seems strategic. Never let them see confusion. Never let them see hesitation. Once doubt leaks from your eyes, your aura fractures. And this aura must extend beyond action. It must live in your reputation. Reputation is the ghost that walks before you. It speaks in rooms you have never entered. It bends conversations in your absence. Build a reputation that whispers of your inevitability. Let others say, "He always wins. He always finds a way." That perception alone will make them compromise before you even arrive. They will lower their defenses, adjust their tone, offer concessions, because they have already surrendered in their minds. The aura of inevitable dominance also depends on patience. You cannot appear desperate to win. Desperation smells of weakness. The man who knows he will triumph does not rush. He waits for the perfect moment to strike. When others act in haste, you watch. When they tire themselves with noise, you move quietly, precisely, once. That patience confuses people. It feels supernatural. They begin to think you possess knowledge they do not, a foresight they cannot match. That illusion keeps them submissive. Your silence must become a weapon. When others expect reaction, give stillness. When they provoke, respond with control. When they question, answer with simplicity. The fewer words you use, the greater their imagination becomes. And imagination is your greatest ally. It fills the gaps in their understanding with myth. They will see your calm as calculation, your patience as intelligence, your quiet as threat. This is how the aura strengthens. Through their interpretation of your restraint. To forge this aura, you must never reveal struggle. People may see you tired but never broken. They may see you calculating but never desperate. You must be the still center of chaos, the one who always knows what comes next. Even if you do not act as though you do, the illusion will create its own reality. Belief, when repeated often enough, becomes truth. When people believe in your inevitability, they begin to make choices that confirm it. They act in ways that favor your outcome. Your legend becomes self-fulfilling, and you become the center around which others orbit. Power is not a gift. It is a sculpture carved from discipline, perception, and control. The ruthless aura that bends others to your will is not built in moments of rage or bursts of dominance. It is forged in silence, shaped by restraint, and perfected through understanding human nature. You have learned the 4 pillars that make this aura unbreakable. The illusion of calm power, the subtle science of fear, the balance of mercy and cruelty, and the aura of inevitable dominance. Together, they form a philosophy older than kings and sharper than any sword. They are the essence of command, the architecture of influence. The weak seek love, the uncertain seek approval, but the one who commands presence seeks neither. He understands that love fades and approval shifts, yet fear and respect endure. He walks through chaos untouched because he knows how to control himself before controlling others. His calmness disarms, his silence terrifies, his composure inspires. This is Machiavelli's dark psychology, not the pursuit of cruelty, but the mastery of perception. To be ruthless is not to harm. It is to be unshaken by the emotions that destroy lesser men. The truly ruthless man does not scream, he does not chase, he does not beg. He moves with the confidence of inevitability, and that is the secret of bending people to your will. Not through force, but through presence. The presence that makes others question themselves in your silence. The presence that commands loyalty, even from those who envy you. The presence that turns resistance into obedience before the first word is spoken. To forge this aura is to rise above the noise of ordinary men. It is to become something more. A figure of control, of composure, of quiet danger. Remember, this power is never about how loudly you roar, but how deeply others feel your silence.